Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back in our discussion of the covered storage system for bulk materials. In our last two classes, we discussed about the bin and bunkers, and today I will be talking about the another covered storage system which is called silo. Now, after this lesson, you will be able to discuss the construction, operation and maintenance of silo for bulk storage, and at the end we will be discussing that in which way you can take up some activities by which whatever you are learning and how you can apply this to the real life problem solving. You can take some activities yourself at your home. So, that is what is our purpose today. Now, just to recapitulate, we have talked about this hopper, bin and bunker, which are a part of this our storage system. If you just remember, we have got this hopper, a funnel shaped things which exactly receives the bulk material, and then it taking particularly the material is entering into this, and then it is just allowing it to go to the next appliance or next processing equipment. And in that hopper, if you remember that depending on the hardness or depending on the abrasivity of the material, we were having this liner, and then we used to have that certain things that it also that whatever the speed at which it is coming, it get dampened, so that if you are not having the liner, at a very high speed it will be falling, and in that speed when an abrasive material will be going, the hopper wall will be that will be getting it will get wearing out. So, those and this hopper which become a part of your in a bin or a silo at the bottom part for evacuating, in bunker also where you are evacuating, this hopper is a very important part of it. Now, you have also seen bins, that is which is a container comparatively smaller, and they have got a different shape and size. We talked about their cylindrical main vertical part or a rectangular, sometimes as a square type, and then at the bottom the discharge also can be a circular or can be a rectangular or pyramidal. Different type of bins are there, and we have seen how they are used in the bulk material handling system. Particularly, you will find them in even in liquid handling, in some of the milk processing plants you will find there are different types of bins used. You go to any food processing plant, you will find the bins that storage, and it will coming there. They make a very high quality stainless steel, and so that no contaminants and other can come. Lot of steps are taken in the bin, so that we get a hygienic food. You go to any Nestle companies, that noodle making farm, there also you will see bin. If you go to any pharmaceutical plant where they are making these tablets and all by from making different ingredient mixing, there also you will find smaller capacity bins. So, the bin is also used in our storage in some of the supermarket for keeping the materials. Your this grocery shops, they will be having a bin. We can have a very mechanized type of your opening. This is the thing where you can also take some innovative way. The things which are kept in our many of the shops, that is your rice things and all, if Instead of there, they will have to take out from the outside. The opening is kept very wide open. You can see near the roadside there are a lot of dust, and sometimes even that so many things that come and they mix, and they exactly air, it is exposed to the air. But there in those grocery shops and all, where they are selling rice, dals and other things, if we can design a very good closed bin with a gate system, and if it is becoming cost effective and as well as very convenient to operate, and even you can think of having a bin with a automatic weighing system. That means, if any person wants to buy in a supermarket the amount of material, he can just press the button and then get the exact quality of the material released through the gate of a bin. You can have there that even a 30 kilo, 40 kilo and 100 kilo bins, that different type of bin you can take up as a small innovative experiment, that is in which way we can have design our for a grocery shops a bulk material storage. The bulk material, there are rice, sugar, spices and all these are different type of things. So, if you can design something that can bring a cultural change, the way the shops in small towns and all, they will be kept. So, this is where your engineering idea and input can give a good business also. So, other things we have discussed in our previous class about the bunker, that bunkers are of different types, that is also a container, which we have discussed last class about how it can be a ground mounted or this type of things. And then where I asked also that you must make a visit to a coke oven plant or a thermal power stations where these bunkers are there. Now, invariably in most of our plants, like your thermal power plant or in any steam plant, you will find the fuel coal which are brought over there. Many a time it is there keeping as a open coal storage. Now, by putting them over here, only problem is there is a capital investment on making these ones, but for the environmental services that will be giving it, ecosystem services that it can give, if you evaluate their cost, that is your investment or capex for this type of infrastructure could be very useful. Industries at a higher level, while they are planning their capex, they can find out that this investment at what time, after how many years it may get the break even point, and then it start giving the return on the investment. So, that your bunkers way we need to change some of the open cold storage to this cold storage, that is also there. You have seen about different type of bunkers. Today, we will be discussing about this silo. Many of you might have seen this silo while you are going by train or by thing near a thermal power station. There you can see this type of storage system, cold storage systems are there. Some silo for, you have seen oil tanks and all, that is also a different type of silo for liquid storage. So, here in this diagram you can see it is a thermal power stations where this coal is stored over these two big silos, and there this capacity sometimes can go even 10,000, 30,000, even 100,000 meter cube of material can be stored over there. Now, this silo in recent years have come in a very big way because they are environmentally friendly. Say coal can be stored over there and it will not give environmental problem, but there is of course some problem will be there because this coal dust which will be getting accumulated over there, and the air which could be there, that air and the coal dust mixture, it can be an explosive things, and under certain conditions it may burst, then such type of silo can get collapse because of those coal dust explosions can take place. So, but for that design today, because we know that such type of phenomena may happen, the chemistry and the physics of this explosion that is known. So, that is why it can be done both the ways. Even if explosion takes place, the structures can be made robust enough not to collapse, and then we can eliminate the causes of this, that is the excess of oxygen into the system, excess of air, and the generation of dust by proper monitoring and evacuation systems can be given over here. That those type of problem we will be discussing about how the silo may failure and that problem and what type of solution is there. As a result, the silos have has got a tremendous popularity in the near just last 4 or 5 years. Even you may see something that I think some of the Netherlands companies, they are doing all over the world that Euro silo, one of the very robust big silos they have erected, and also even under the COVID situations, there was a exemplary erection by these European companies of a silo in Shanghai in China. They have made a 100-meter cubic robust silo structural, that is reinforced concrete structures of a huge size they have developed. That is, you will be appreciating if you see some of the YouTube over there, and then some of, if you just search, you can find out how such type of things can be controlled and erected by supervising through internet. During this 2020 December, it was commissioned. At that time that nobody was there in the site, barring for few people only, but the whole precision control and all were being done by the internet. Such type of things have happened during last 2 or 3 years. So, you can make a search that what are the recent silos that have been constructed. Now, we will be coming to discussing about what are the different types of silo, but you need to know that the silo can be constructed by different material differently, because that, as we said earlier also, in whole bulk material handling, the material characteristics, it makes the whole difference in which way you will be designing. So, it is what is the main main advantage of this silo is, if you take a open storage, that other than the lot of dust going out, it looks ugly. That aesthetic of the area get destroyed, because even the trees nearby you will be having a black leaves. Then the second thing is, your area required for a particular storage, say for example, for 1000 meter cube of 100,000 meter cube of coal to be kept near a thermal power station, means a large area will have to be having a heaps of coal. But if you are having a silo, it could be maybe diameter 25 meter or 10 meter silo, then because you are keeping vertically. So, in another way we can tell that the environmental footprint, that footprint of this silo will be much less when compared to storing the same material in open storage. So, the silo system with a minimum footprint to the environment may come, and that is why silos have become very popular. In India, we had the silo constructed by Engineers India Limited, by Elecon, this company. They did in the silos started, big silos were constructed during 70s and 80s. If you go to many of the coal handling plants, and also that say giant that Northern Coalfield, Coal India Limited, they introduced silo long back in some of the mines in that, where the merry-go-round system of transportation of coal to the thermal power stations in near the giant coalfield, it is there. And then recently, because of the environmental process, at a last couple of years, that Coal India is making a lot of railway, that's a rapid loading system for wagon, by making this silo as a part of it. So, that silo design, silo management, silo control, silo failure, silo maintenance, these are the area and topics where you can get a lot of recent and new information, and where you can also give your contributions. Now, it is just there that when we talk about the silo or that closed storage can have a shade type of things, that is it can have a circular shape, or it can have a rectangular A frame type of structures could be here, but or that silo can be there. And out of all this tray, you can see that exposed surface, that requirement for silo is less than your that 5 meter square area, but whereas in your A-frame type of circular type of other type of closed storage also, they have got a, you need a more area over there. So, the silos have the minimum footprint as well as operating flexibility has been optimized by applying advanced automatic control and monitoring system. That means, silos are now you can make it, it can be adjusting to the requirement, that even in the low capacity silos are nowadays coming in a modular way. If your some operations you are having is say only 3 years or 4 years type of operations are there, you can transfer that place to another locations and all such type of modular silos are also coming up. So, this is a advanced way of storing coal, or that is for temporary storage for handling in between the processes. Now, coming to this, one thing you should know that silo is not a new concept. Even in the 19th century there were silos. Of course, those silos were mainly in the agricultural sector for the grain storage and all, and this was having a number of different type of silos you can see made of welded steel. There were bunker silo, which is having a bunker along, that is taking as a bunker silo. Then there were the concrete silo, there were tile block silo, then metalliferous, that is metal that you are using, there is the steel or that shell type of silo. But that the silo term is being used also synonymously for a large storage. That silo, that word from the grain storage it has come. Even you can see in literary also they have means that what are the things in the silo, that in the language also it has got a different meaning. We are not going to that, but this silo what we can have the three main types, that your tire silo, your bag silo and the silo piles, that where a tower silo you can see it as a gigantic tower in which the material is fed. Now, normally such type of big tower the material is always fed from the top and by a conveyor belt or other bucket elevator, different types of, we will be discussing those bucket elevator, how it can be worked with a silo that for storage purposes. But this silos, they unloading will be always below, it can unload to the railway wagon, it can unload to the cars, it can unload to the conveyor, whatever that system is there. So, when we talk about a silo, it is a storage, but we should think of a silo system, because only the silo does not work. It will have to have a that receiving system or receiving mechanism, and it must have an evacuating system and evacuating mechanism. It will have to be a monitoring system, and it will have to have a pressure control system. All these four systems can be considered as a subsystems of a what we say as a silo system. So, that systematic approach you need to understand. If you take like little bit of research, you can go how can you optimize that system. Optimizing means whether that how you can minimize the cost, minimize the problem, minimize its that is maximize its utilization. Those are the way how the system studies are done. But thing is that here when you use a silo, their main advantage it is it gets well packed. When you are putting the things over there, it will get packed automatically by itself. But if you make a very high pack, then what will happen? The compaction level at the bottom will be much more, it can be very hard sometime. That is why Eurosilo, that Netherlands company, when they make silo, they are having inside that silo the material will be put, and then there will be a stacker inside. It will be just layer by layer the material will be dumped, and then it will be there, the stacker will be going climbing up the pile, and it is there. And when it is to be evacuated, at the bottom there will be a screw conveyor, that this screw conveyor will be taking the material out and give it to the discharge point. So, there is no question of getting any arching or bridging or the flow problem. So, that is the, let us in a very large silo you should see that, that means how it is being filled. While you are filling, if you allow the whole material to come from the top, if a coal, if it is coming over there, then there is the whole coal will get shattered. There will be lot of pulverization and powder will be formed, and slowly it will be a situation of coal dust explosion. So, in such type of cases, that coal will not be dropped from the very top to get it pulverized. So, that is why, but thing is that you can stack it, make it over there, and accordingly other arrangement can be done. Then because it is in a closed thing, there will not be any loss of the coal during the storage. You may find wherever the coal in a open storage, it is there during the rainy season, lot of coal fines and all will be going into the drain. In the drain nearby a coal piles, you find that somebody can just take a cloth filter and take all the coal particles can be collected and they can take home for their burning it for cooking purposes. It happens. And the pilferage, that means that when from the coal storage, lot of stealing also will be there, and then from the store, if you are keeping an open, everything you cannot collect. You have seen in the reclaimer class also, when you are making the pile, that reclaiming the from the edge one, you need to push by a dozer and then need to give it. That means for your there is a loss, and also for collecting it, you will have to, those means you have to pay for the dozer operator, you will have to buy that the dozer for its capital investment, also the diesel you require, lubrication oil you require for the running the diesels and all, so many costs. But if you are keeping over here, there is no spillage, everything is there inside and you are in the hopper, and from there you are evacuating and collecting. So, and then there is no additional manpower required, no additional fuel energy required. So, you can do it very well. And as you have seen that it can be constructed in a very less area. So, the surrounding and everything can be very well maintained and managed environmentally friendly way. And you can easily have a automatic level monitoring system, that in the silo how much is there now, how much has filled, how much quantity it can receive, those things can also be very easily put together. The other thing, the weather or the climate, rainy season, and then in the cold countries the winter season, snowing and all these things will not affect you. So, this is one of the big advantages. But what is there? Initially in a open storage, you do not have to spend any money, you just have, you buy a dozer, you buy this front end loader, you bring a truck, and then your things will be coming, just you there is no need of any huge capital expenditure. That is the things where exactly in our country we have not gone for much large capacity cold storage. We always used to think that we are not a very rich country, but though we are not poor, but we have never considered investing in those type of, to make the things look better and to make the things beautiful. Ours is kam chalega to chalega. So, because of that, our designs in our industry, even in our home, even in our institutions, everywhere we do not go for beautifying, we do not like to spend money for creating certain avenue. So, disadvantage is the higher initial cost and unloading is slower. Now, that is whatever has been designed with that you cannot increase, but if you are in an open storage, okay, by one front end loader I will make 5 front end loader, 5 times I can increase the loading rate, but here the loading rate will be whatever has been designed, all the time it will be going continuously. So, if you have well planned considering your situation, it is very good, otherwise this is a disadvantage. Then silage moisture cannot be as high as compared to other silo types. That is, what happens that if you are keeping particularly in a the silage where you are keeping the husks, your grass and other things over there, if you open one, there will be lot of moisture coming from the atmosphere, also it absorbs, but here your moisture control is there. Then the other is a bunk silo, that see the silo word for a large storage, it is there. In the last class we talked about the bunker. Now, that sometimes rest of bunkers are also called the bunk silos. What are they? They are just trenches and then we give a protections and keep the material over here. It is a semi closed type, but the upper one you will be covering with a tarpaulin and another, then this bunker becomes a silo. So, that means that you are having its advantage is it holds a large capacity, and it can be filled with conventional farm equipment, that mainly this type of bunker silo is used in the agricultural sector, and it offer a very faster unloading rate, that is that whatever your other silo is there, in this case you can do it very quicker unloading, and it is inexpensive. There you can, that cost of initial cost is very less. Okay. So, it can suit to the different operations. If it is a large farms, a few hectares of land they are doing, their grains and all will have to be kept near the fields and things, this type of bunker silos are used. So, then it require a very greater infilling and packing. So, your feeding arrangements and all will be little bit elaborate, but it is normally you will not go for a very small capacity. Silo can be designed for small capacity also. There are another thing which is interesting in the agricultural sector for the your bulk product in the rice and all, you can use this silo bags. Many a time your that storage can be improved by having these silo bags. I think in Mangalore and all there are some Indian companies, they are this manufacturing such type of big silo bags are there. So, there it can be up to 3.6 meter diameter, big diameter bag, and they are very long bags where the material, quite a good amount of material can be there. You can think of different type of evacuation systems can be there. Here it is, as because it is not the metallic, concrete and those things are not there while storing over there, the investment compared to a constructed tower silo, it is less. So, it can be depending on your the field. If you are say you can store sometimes this, if you are having a big cattle farm and the cow feeds you are bringing in over there and you need to store it, you can store it like that. So, depending on the where you apply, you will make this type of arrangements. The silo bags, it come in a very different way. You have got in our country, this agricultural sector, they have used different type of silo bags. So, as a when we talk about the cold bulk storage, these are used, but in our mineral sectors such type of bags will not be used, but okay, some form of bag in a big filters where temporarily it can retain, but it is not a storage system which is used over here. So, other than that we have got the silage piles. That silage means exactly your this fodder, grass, all are also bulk material. This when we talk as in general bulk material handling, we need to think of in the agricultural sector, there are a lot of these raw materials, and then sometimes is a even having a good calorific value material, because we have not systematically storing and systematically we are managing that, that is why it creates other problem. I always tell that when in your the environmental problem in Delhi because of the fodders being burnt in the agricultural field of Haryana and then Punjab, there if it is collected at the time of harvesting all the things and then maintain silage piles over here, and this can be used as a raw material for your paper mill, it can be used for raw material for making a, that is your granular bricks for granular fuel brick for household domestic consumptions. It can also sometimes can be used for the cow feeds, for the different things can be used, maybe for making now with Amazon and this your Flipkart, their online marketing has come up, we need a more packaging, such type of your some of the silage can be converted to cardboard and the packaging item manufacturing. So, this type of storage in the villages and all can lead to a new market. So, while you are developing your expertise in the bulk material handling, you can think of those alternative business, and there also you can take certain activity. But the another thing which you should start investigating is that you may have a silo failure can be a big problem. That is your sometimes these failures may involve catastrophe, sometimes it is just giving your operational problem, because if it is not properly designed or if it is not properly erected. So, our next class we will be discussing about some of the silo failure and how we can avoid that and how we should monitor it. But here a lot of research needs will be there. You will have to analyze, say for example, that how exactly it can become weaker, how it can get different stress coming. Even those who know about little bit of thermodynamics and all, you know that during the daytime this there will be a expansion of the metallic steel plates or steel shell over here, and during the night time they will get shrink. Now, suppose we are having here 20,000 ton of material, when they will expand during the daytime, then what will happen, that the grains and things like that, they will get a settlement. But when in the night if they come, that is your giving it will contract, at that time will it be able to push the rise or the whole column up? No. But at that time, that means this metal will be now differently stressed, their stress is not released, then ultimately there will be such things happening and it may become weaker, and sometimes there may be crack developed, there may be other problems developed. So, that is why when you are storing a huge quantity of material and then if it fails, it may give it a catastrophe, all the things may collapse, it may lead to some accidents also. So, that is why you need to put you should be interested to know that how they are designed, what are the forces taken care of. Say for example, at the top your conveyor belts are coming and giving a loading over here, we are doing a 30 meter or say 50 meter silo. So, in that case, that what is the wind speed at the top where the conveyor belt is coming and putting over there, that conveyor belt will be giving on a truss and column structures which will be supporting the belt, and that belt is coming over there. At that time the wind speed, if it goes high, then there could be a problem in that, and then if the conveyor belt starts swaying, then your loading will not be proper, if lot of things may happen. So, the sources of the problems need to be seen. We will be discussing some failures maybe in the next class, but on economics of operation is very important. So, whenever you are studying bulk material handling, you are going to be a bulk material handling manager or a designer or a controller. So, all these functions are related to the economics. So, if a silo operation, as I have said that silo you are storing the constructions, we can say it can be by structurally with reinforced or with the metal or with even the wood. After constructing, the operation is you have got the feeding, you have got to evacuation, you have to control. So, for this purpose what you need to do, your operations will have to be economic. So, when you know the operation, where are the cost centers involved need to be seen. Now, you will be incurring costs, that is if the material loss takes place, if you require more fuel and oil, if you require more labor, if your some additional equipment need to be purchased, your structures need to be maintained, materials and parts will have to be procured, and that is why the whole cost will be depending on how much you are storing, and then how long you will be storing, and then what type of material you are storing, if the material can degrade also under that conditions. So, as a result that capital investment will be going. So, if your that agricultural field is a permanent field, it will be there running for another 50, 100 years, people will be doing it. There if you want to have a very good sophisticated system, after some years, normally initial investment when you make, your that return is not there, slowly the return will be coming, and after some time you get your break even point, and after that you get your whole thing as a coming as a profit. So, this type of analysis, whatever you have studied in your economics class, whatever you have studied in your business class, those things need to be put into and put in our bulk material handling and bulk material management by a silo storage. So, I request you, you take a develop a comparison table for different types of closed storage system and considering different comparison criteria. how, on what basis you will be comparing whether you want a tower silo, whether you want a bunker, whether you want some bin, or whether you in a open piles or you want a open storage. These are the different storage alternatives we have talked about. Now, what are the criteria on the basis of which you can compare them? Cost is one, but before that we will have to see that how much capacity it will be economic, how much environmental footprint it will be having, what are the operational problem it can give, what are the monitoring it will require, how many persons it will have. Those are the criteria. Start thinking that whether the criteria will be depending on the time, depending on the capacity, depending on the location, depending on the material, depending on the climatic conditions, so many things. So, that your learning activity, try to find out that, then develop a PowerPoint presentation on the case studies of failures. I request you, please do an internet survey, a desktop research to find out in the recently last say 15 years you take, in the last 15 years how many storage site accidents have taken place in the world's cold storage system. That is, you may look into the cold storage, you may look into the ore storage, you may look into the grain storage, you can look into the cement industry, you can look into the aluminum industry, you can look into the iron industry, you may look into the coal industry, number of different students can look into a different industry. You can bring say what are the failure or that is your accidents have taken place in the coal sector, someone can do in the agricultural sector. Then you will find that in a lot of things you bring number of PowerPoints, present it, put it over there, discuss it and put it on the YouTube, let the people know and get it covered. That is your learning activity. And now I give another small problem which we have not that you can take up as a self learning activity. That is, suppose as I give you in a your 1000 ton of rice, a superstore want to keep, how will you exactly design that storage system? Or alternative to this, you can think of say a shopkeeper, he sells say about 500 kilos of rice in say a month. So, for him he will need to store it, then where from he is buying, that he is getting at present by say different only gunny bags it is coming and he is putting over there and doing handling it over there. Now, if you want a very good, beautiful, environmentally friendly, aesthetically good looking that rice storage system in a rice shop, you may think of that how the bins can be designed for. There could be different type of rice, basmati, that is your boiled rice, that raw rice, black rice, brown rice, and then they are putting, you can just imagine, put your imaginations and using that without going to the design calculations, a concept design you make it in DrawWorks or in AutoCAD and whatever the engineering drawing platform you have learned, in that you design this. So, these are the learning activities for this paper, and you read some of the very good articles in the online. These articles are available, and then I think your learning will be proper. And what today we have discussed only the different types of silo have been introduced and the construction and operation of the silos are discussed. Briefly, I have told about the failure, and I have introduced to you how a learning activity can be taken up. It is your job to do the work and enjoy learning. Thank you very much.